Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I was just reading some articles talking about homelessness, and it seems like everybody knows what the problem is. And when I hear about the studies that are being done, or what it is that legislation wants to do as far as putting taxpayer money towards, it's always about dealing with the symptom. It always. Now, when you think about some of these studies that are done, or you think about what it is that the lawmakers could possibly do, it really comes down to a problem of supply and demand. There is far more demand than there is a supply of homes. And it really needs to be understood in this fashion, because no matter how much money you throw at it, it doesn't provide more homes, especially if you are putting it towards the people who can't afford them. If that's what you're planning on doing, then what you are going to do is drive the price of real estate up, because the availability of homes doesn't increase with people's ability to buy them. Now, what we have is a situation in which that people feel that money being given to them would help them be able to rent an apartment or a house, or even buy a house. Somehow, if $100 billion worth of vouchers were given out to particular groups, right, then these individuals who are deprived now of homes would then be able to buy one of these homes that are in short supply, depriving those who don't get the vouchers the ability to get a home. That's really what this comes down to. And I think to myself, now who really benefits from this, right? The handful of people who are able to acquire these vouchers, if it works for them, and the people who own real estate as the prices move astronomically higher. See, this is really where I feel that when people are looking to solve the homeless problem, it's not. What they end up doing is they're going to create a situation in which that it makes it ever increasingly harder to acquire a home due to the price increases. See, this seems to only benefit those who already own real estate and the handful of people who get to play into the game and vote for it. Right. Now, the real problem is that the availability of owning a home really comes down to the industriousness of the people. See, now, this is really what people got to understand this, is that we were once a producing nation, right? We used to be a manufacturing state. And with these manufacturing jobs, we had people who were skilled workers. And now you think about it, how many people did you hear about maybe their grandfather building their own home? Or maybe their own father building their home, right? And nowadays, very rarely do I find anybody who will go out and outwardly build a home who is not somebody who is already in the construction game. See, the skills in order to be able to build a house from nothing is not necessarily something that anybody has. There was a time in this country where a lot of people had that skill. Think about it. You could be somebody who worked a fairly average job, stop by the lumber yard every day on your way to your property and build a home. There was people who had done that. So you wonder, where's all the available homes out there? Well, where are all the available people to do something such as that? And then when you consider the environment that we're in building a home, how much permitting, how much, taxes that have to be paid, how much, issues that go into getting utilities set up, getting all the stuff that makes a house available to even build is astronomically high, right? So between all these things, it makes it very difficult for an average person who is working an average job to buy a piece of land and build a home on that. See, the industriousness of the people is waning here in the United States. See, we're a service. We provide debt, we provide dollars, and we buy stuff, and we sell it to each other. And in the meantime, we cook each other food and provide legal services. You know, this is what we end up doing for each other. Because we don't have an industrious people who are productive. Now, could we? Sure. I mean, it could happen. But I know very few people who are actually in the attempt of trying to build a home working some regular job. Like, that isn't even a concept anymore. So you wonder where all the available homes are. Well, where's all the available people to actually build a home? Where's the environment in which a home can be built in an affordable way that gives everybody a shot at doing it for themselves? See, that doesn't exist nowadays. This is not the environment that we live in. Once you understand that, it makes it a lot easier, because then that starts to relate to all the reasonings why we have such a depressive people who are addicted to drugs and alcohol, who commit crimes and all the other things that go along with all the issues when you have no place for yourself. Right? See, this is the real problem with homelessness. This is the real problem that not a lot of people are seeming to face, especially when it comes to legislation, who, to me, is more about playing a game of how to make their real estate prices go up, while playing this, oh, I'm bleeding heart for all these people who can't afford it. Right? I mean, right? Isn't that what's happening? I mean, sure, it's drugs and alcohol. You think about it. It's just like, once you have no real way of doing it for yourself, if you do not have the education, the degrees, the skills, and even just working an average job doesn't do it, forces you into your car, right? Tell me, how depressed would you be? How much would you be trying to drown away the depressive feelings that you would have every day, knowing that nothing you could do was going to make it? Right? That's the problem, right? Is the industriousness of the people themselves. See, if we had that, we would be in a much better spot. We would be in a spot that people would not be feeling the need to disappear from their life for a while. They would be feeling the need to be inspired to do better, to make their place better, to have the ability to do it, right? All that stuff is inspiring, and it doesn't, you don't think about being, drunk or high. Believe me, I know. Right? And this is really where I think, if you really wanted to solve the problem, this is what would be focused in on, is that this is not an environment in which this is possible. How do we create that environment? I don't know. I don't know how to make permitting and land prices and utility run and all that. I don't know how to make all that stuff available for the average person. I don't think it is. I think the way the money has come into the system and separated the rich from the poor and deindustrialized. There we go. I make up my own words. Surprised I even have a YouTube channel. But when you think about it, when you have this deindustrialization happening here, and the people aren't really capable of having those skills, and they wasn't taught to them, and their dad doesn't show them, or their grandfather doesn't show them, then it's lost. That's really what's going on here. You can't send your production overseas and then expect, hey, why don't you come back here and produce a house for me? How am I supposed to, if I don't have something that I produce? Think about it like this. If I don't have something that I am producing myself, right? Ask yourself this question. If I am not producing something myself, how do I expect somebody else right here to produce something for me? And a house is produced here, not overseas, here. But we don't have anybody doing it, or not enough people doing it. And the few people who are doing it, they want money for it, right? They want a lot of it, which makes it ever more increasingly difficult for somebody who has that average job. I just don't know how to explain it any other way. I think I tried. I put it out here in this video. I really hope this gets around to, especially like Congress and all the governors out there and mayors. That's really who needs to see this video, because if they truly understood this problem, it wouldn't be like you know, they wouldn't be like pointing the finger at drugs and alcohol saying that's the problem, because it is a problem. It's a serious symptom of the real problem. So if you can see it, yes, that's a problem, right? And the problem is lying deeper than that, and we need to discover that. And really, if you think about some of the things that I've said in this video, I think it would start making a lot more sense when you look around. Uneducated Economist, you let me know.